Greetings, friends. I'm AK.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
The Chainsaw Girls.
Today, we're going to be covering
My Demon Lover.
I need to know right off the bat, what made you choose this one first for me? So Laura chose this one. I've never seen it. This is a favorite of hers. Go ahead.
Okay, so the story of My Demon Lover. I have a trainer. His name is Brian. And one day we were working out and we always talk about horror movies. And he told me this story that his grandpa used to record VHS movies for him and then mail them to him. So there'd be a whole bunch of different movies on it, what is that? Stand By Me, fun cartoons.
Right.
And then My Demon Lover.
Okay, so his grandpa was recording it himself on the VHS. Got it.
I don't know if he was copying it off TV or whatever, but so Brian's this movie, My Demon Lover. And I'm like, how have I never heard of My Demon Lover?
Yeah.
That sounds completely up my alley, right?
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I immediately loved it.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Same.
You did?
I did. I loved it. I'm not just saying that.
Okay, that was really loud. I'm sorry. But I'm so excited. Okay, sorry, go.
There's something about, first of all, the title I already knew. When it's being recommended by you, I know I'm going to like it. But then also the title is My Demon Lover. And this is going to sound stupid, but I know you will understand that for some reason, it being made in 1987, I just knew it was going to be a fucking banger.
1,000%.
Why are there so many good movies from 1987?
No, there really is. I actually wrote a list of all the movies that came out in 1987. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Evil Dead 2, Blood Diner, our fave, Slumber Party Massacre, among so many others.
Dolls. Yes.
I can't wait to talk about Dolls.
I didn't even know you wrote that in your notes.
I did. Yeah, because I was very curious about My Demon Lover didn't blow them away at the box office.
Yeah, a lot of these B-horrors didn't.
They didn't.
At the time.
I think it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you started it, I imagine it's satire.
Right.
As soon as the diner scene happened where the man who's sitting at the diner counter is eating some soupy shit and he collapses into his food and is stretchered out and everyone's no-selling it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I know what kind of movie this is.
Yeah.
This is great, right?
Exactly.
So I think it was ahead of its time. It didn't do well at the box office, but it is now obviously a cult classic.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you want to read the IMDb description of it? Which it's short and sweet, but it's perfect.
I do. I want to read it. It's from my notes, guys. Okay, we got notes. All right. A homeless street musician becomes a demon when sexually aroused.
And that's exactly what it's about. So great summary.
Absolutely. And I do want to mention it was directed by Charlie Leventhal, and it was written by Leslie Ray.
And what else did Leslie Ray write? I feel like you had that in your notes as well. That they wrote something else that was...
Yes, she actually wrote the French Prince. Oh my God, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was a writer on Fresh Prince. Yep. And this was distributed by New Line Cinemas, which is also Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
So that's kind of exciting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think it's Nightmare on Elm Street. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But I'm almost positive New Line is Nightmare on Elm Street.
And I think one of the special effects makeup artists also worked on Frankenhooker.
Yeah.
Which you haven't seen yet.
No, I haven't. I'm dying to see it. It's got to be on the list.
It has to be on the list.
We have to cover it.
I've seen it, so it can be a recommendation. But based on the rules that we're creating as we go,
yes.
I cannot recommend that to you.
Absolutely. Love it.
But I think we should get into what this movie is about. We're going to do the whole breakdown because... the summary really does cover it. That is the long story short, but I think we need to get into the long story long.
No, 100%, because there are so many things that happen in this movie that are outrageous.
Absolutely outrageous, yes. So we start off with the main character, Denny. Not Danny. It's a girl named Denny.
How cute is she, though?
Like the restaurant.
Yes,
she is. She's very cute. She has a cute little blonde, bob almost. Is that a bob?
Would you call it a bob? Yeah.
Okay. The problem is she's a huge pushover.
She is. And she's very lonely.
She's very lonely. Yeah. She is a doormat. She will accept a date from literally anyone who looks at her.
I know. My heart broke for Denny, honestly.
Meanwhile, her best friend is extremely blunt. Her name is Sonia. She's extremely blunt, to the point. She's a badass. She takes no shit. And she calls out Denny. She's like, you're dating all these losers. Like, you need to stop.
Everyone needs a friend like Is it Sonia?
Sonia, yeah.
Everyone needs a friend like
Sonia.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a friend like that. Everybody needs that kind of girlfriend in their life.
Absolutely. They do a scene pretty early on in the movie where there's some guy who's like, I can't remember what his job is already, even though I just watched this. He's like a little nerd. His name is Charles.
Charles, okay.
He is important in the movie, so
Yes.
that is why I'm mentioning him. But early on, he's like in the bar. He's trying to really get Denny. And
Yes.
she's like, maybe I'll talk to you later. Yeah, sure. Even though he's clearly a slime ball.
100%.
He's
yes,
literally
yes.
asking every single girl if they will like talk to him, basically. And so Sonia sees right through his shit.
Yeah.
She's like, why are you even giving him the time of day? And she's like, well, I don't know. Like,
She's lonely.
Yeah.
And I think because she's such a people pleaser and she's
definitely
just, right?
She is a people pleaser.
Like to the nines.
But to a point where it's detrimental.
I think being a people pleaser in general is terrible. I'm a recovering people pleaser. And yeah, it's not a good, you should not be a people pleaser.
Especially when it gets to the point where you are just completely a pushover for anyone and everything and let anyone treat you anyway.
100%.
Which is Denny here.
Yeah.
That is completely Denny. Then we meet our demon boy, our demon lover, Kaz. Which I feel like they don't say his name that much in the movie. I could be wrong, but I had to look it up at the end to make sure I remembered what his name was.
Yeah, I think they mentioned it a couple times, but it's not, you know, they're not like calling him Kaz all the time.
Right.
He's mostly like, just like random, I don't want to say, I don't know if he's exactly like, homeless per se, but he seems kind of like a...
The summary says he's a homeless street musician.
I kind of thought of him as one of those people that like bounces from like town to town.
Yeah, a vagabond.
Yeah.
Is that the word? I don't know if that's offensive or not.
I don't either,
but I just think
think so. I don't know.
I just think of someone carrying like a stick with a handkerchief tied to it, like a cartoon.
Or like a troubadour. Is it troubadour?
What the hell is that?
Is it a troubadour, like someone that hangs out and like plays music outside?
I have never heard that word in my life.
The only reason I know it is from Gilmore Girls. They call someone a troubadour. I could be wrong. Guys, maybe you need to cut this out. I don't know.
We'll find out. We will find out.
We will.
But yes, he is depicted as being homeless. Mm-hmm. Like when he is introduced to Denny, he literally...
Can we talk about this scene, please?
Oh, it's a huge note in my notes. He crawls out of the trash.
Yes, he does.
She is sitting at like a patio in some restaurant.
at the diner. She's outside the diner.
Yes. And he crawls out of the trash up to her, okay, harasses her for a bite of her burger.
Her veggie burger.
Yes, and I don't even think it's veggie. It's a fruit burger because he calls her that after.
That's right.
So
it's a fruit burger.
He's bothering her. She's like, no, leave me alone, whatever. So she sounds like she's going to stand up for herself. And eventually, of course, she gives in. And he takes her burger and he takes a bite out of it and then he spits it all over her.
Let me tell you, first of all, I don't like to share food anyways.
No.
Like, listen, if we go out to a restaurant and I order something and I ask you, hey, did you want some? And then the person says no. And then when the food gets there, they think that they can take a fry off my plate. Like, no, I do not share food. So this whole scene was like insane to me. And him like spitting out her food, like on her was so, like, I don't know at what point she was like, oh, this is the man for me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I wrote in my notes. Like, okay, so he crawls out of a pile of trash, harasses her, takes her burger, spits the burger all over her, not even just spits it out, spits it all over her, follows her home after that because she's over it.
Well, he doesn't have a place to live, right?
Right. But now he's like following her down the street when she's over it and is trying to walk away for once in her life. And he's following her home. Side note, whatever she was wearing, like her dress, she has like this, I don't know if it's like a brooch or something on it.
Yes.
I thought it was part of the burger that he spit out on her, but it wasn't. It's actually part of the dress. It's like this ugly flower.
She's wearing like the fruit burger proudly on her shirt, just marching down New York City.
Loves this fruit burger. He won't stop like groping at her, okay? He's like grabbing her.
He really is.
He's grabbing her, and then he runs away when he starts turning into a demon because he turns into a demon every time he gets horny, which is quite often.
Yeah. All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So after that, she likes him.
She does.
Like,
well, I think it's been established right from the get-go that Denny doesn't have high standards.
She does not have high standards. Also, some other guy tries to No, it was her ex. That's what it was. Her ex shows up in the apartment complex and is roughing her up, like gonna beat her up.
Yeah, it was actually really alarming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
which I think actually explains a lot about her behavior because
Yes.
she just came out of an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And she probably has no confidence. She's totally insecure. Like, it makes sense to me why she would kind of, I don't know, like fall for just about anyone.
Yeah.
You know? It's
and
kinda
why
sad.
it really just goes into her people pleaser personality.
Yeah.
And it makes you
Yeah.
feel for her.
Really?
For sure.
Yeah.
And then so demon lover Kaz, he saves her.
He does.
So that's when she's like, oh, maybe I like him. You know, even after
Yeah.
all of him, because like the fruit burger is one thing and spitting on her, like that's rude, but it's whatever. But it's the like following her and harassing her and groping her.
Groping her. It's like, Kaz, listen, I know that
Yeah.
you're having some issues, my friend, but that's not how you approach a woman.
Yeah.
Or anyone ever.
And
Ever.
as if, like, okay, you saved her from another piece of shit, but that doesn't cancel out your gross qualities.
1,000%.
Like, the bar is literally on the floor
no,
for
it really
Denny.
is. It really, really is. But at this point, doesn't he sleeps on her couch
Now she invites him in, yes. He has
because
nowhere to go.
he has nowhere to go, and she's like, "Sure, you can sleep on my couch," because I think she's afraid that the ex is going to come back.
Yes.
she's a little nervous about
Yes.
that.
Meanwhile, there is a Mangler on the loose, okay? So we see that people are being attacked, women are being attacked by this like demon or something. We don't know yet, but it's a Mangler, and they have a scene with like a police officer or something, and he says something that I wrote down because I was like, that's very true. It's not even necessarily funny, but I was like, that's so true. The press is trying to call him the Mangler, and he goes, don't give him a name. I'm gonna have a dozen copycat Manglers by tonight.
No,
And
I
was like,
remember
oh my
that.
gosh,
It's so true.
that really happens in real life.
100%.
And then, of course, like the next thing you hear on the radio is them calling him the Mangler already.
course,
So
yeah.
they've already leaked it.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so he is now staying on her couch, and he, is not necessarily peeping on her, but he can see her from where he is, and she's starting to get undressed. Of course, he starts getting all worked up, and
Like,
then
first of all, what the buddy, she gave you a place to sleep. Could you
Right.
at least keep your gross eyeballs to yourself?
apparently he cannot control himself, which I do hate that aspect, but I also feel like it is very true to how some people act.
I think so too, and I think the curse that's on him has an influence on his behavior.
Yeah.
He's a demon,
Right.
after all.
Yes.
So I feel like it's like that thing like when you watch vampire shows, like vampires that are 100 years old and they hook up with like teenagers, and you're like, well, this is extremely wrong.
Yeah.
But it's a vampire show, and you're like, well, he's a demon.
This isn't real.
Right.
These people don't exist, these creatures.
Yeah.
That we're aware of. But so he gets all horny, okay, and he leaves. He jumps out the window because he doesn't want to hurt her.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And
you
then-
haven't mentioned that he plays the saxophone. I feel like that was such an important part.
Well, he's a street musician.
He
So
is.
Yes, he does play
he
the
plays
saxophone,
the saxophone.
which very sexy instrument.
Listen,
Like if there's a saxophone in that song,
I know it really is, and it's really hard to play the saxophone.
Oh,
have you ever tried to
I've
play the
never
saxophone?
even tried.
Have you ever tried to play any kind of instrument where you're like blowing into like
clarinet.
a gimmick?
the clarinet.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I did the trombone in high school.
Wait, is that the?
Wait, no,
Wait.
the big one. Is
Wait,
that called a
tuba?
trombone? Yeah, no, it's like bigger than a tuba. It's like ginormous.
It's not a tuba.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
You played it. The trombone is like the like you pull the thing, right?
I thought that was a trumpet.
No, the trumpet is this. The trumpet doesn't have a thing you pull.
Oh my god.
If it's a big horn and you're blowing in it, I think it's a tuba.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's continue. I'm so sorry.
Okay. It's
Ooh.
okay. We'll figure it out. It's fine. Okay, so we find out on the radio that he apparently mangled someone else. Because now he jumped out the window because he was getting too horny, he was getting too worked up, and someone else got mangled.
And it's implied that you're starting to think that it's him.
Yeah.
It's
'Cause
heavily
he's a demon.
implied. Yeah, it's heavily implied that it's him.
Right.
Yeah.
You see demons attacking someone. It's like in the shadows, right? And then he's the demon, so obviously. So then Kaz tries to leave, like straight up leave her house. He doesn't want to stay anymore because he doesn't want to hurt her. And she's begging this homeless man to please stay, please sleep on my couch.
Yeah.
Like, you do feel for her.
You do, and I think it's a combination of being very lonely and also being very scared. She comes across as a very scared person.
Absolutely.
And I think having a demon in her house probably helps her feel safe.
For sure.
Even though he's an absolute creep.
He is a creep, and he's just, I mean, obviously he's dealing with his own shit.
100%.
But
he does have like big, sad eyes.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that stood out to me with him that makes him somewhat endearing. He has these big sort of like puppy dog eyes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's begging him to stay, and now they're starting to discuss like being in a relationship. And I don't really know how it jumped from one end
Real
to
quick.
Yeah, it escalated really quickly.
It did.
But it's like
Not surprising when it comes to Denny, though. Let's be real.
that's true.
Yeah.
And him, actually.
100%.
But he's like, okay, I can stay here, but under one stipulation, like no physical intimacy and no whatever. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, no touching.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if he explains it to her at this point. I know not fully.
No, because she doesn't know he's a demon yet, does she?
No, she doesn't know he's a demon yet. So I don't think he does. I don't think he says. He might say something like, you're in danger, but doesn't explain why, which also I'd be like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah,
can you
I would
elaborate?
wanna know, yeah.
Please?
Yeah, not Denny, though. She's cool with it.
So then we find out from Kaz's friend from the streets. His name is Fixer.
Oh, yeah, Fixer,
And
yeah.
he's like scamming people on the street with games and things like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a swindler.
Yes. And
Yeah.
he does something to look into Kaz's past to figure out why he's cursed. So Kaz has not known this entire time what happened to him.
No, he just knows that he becomes a demon, but he doesn't know how it happened or why.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they do a flashback. We see the scene of when it happens. And an old woman put a curse on him for making out with her granddaughter as a teenager.
How old was he when he made out with the granddaughter?
I mean, they were both teenagers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like,
no,
what the
as yeah,
Okay.
they were both teenagers.
Okay, that's good.
At least that's what's implied.
I think so, yeah, I
And the
think you're
grandma
right.
came in and she's like, literally points to him and like Sheetar style, a lightning bolt comes out.
Love it.
and he's cursed.
Okay, wait. I have to ask you a question. We're like, we're getting through the movie here. At what point did you decide that you like loved it?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like once I saw his prosthetics, honestly,
Okay,
like when he
okay.
is the full demon.
Me too. That's when I
was
fell
like,
in love with it too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
I'm
just
sorry.
something about the practical effects, and I'm like, I love this.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
So no worries. So to me, that's wild because you just got cursed by this old woman. How do you not remember that? How do you not remember this lightning bolt like shooting out of her finger? And
I mean, maybe when she did that, it like maybe because she doesn't want people to find out that she's like
she has
a
powers.
witch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe like it wiped his memory or something
that's
like
possible.
that.
That's
I don't
very
know. I was
possible.
wondering the same thing the first time I watched it.
Yeah. So and her curse is to basically ruin his sex life.
Like
Which-
destroy it.
The level of petty. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, Grandma.
I know, right? Like I mean, if you're gonna do anything, I feel like that is like what a great curse.
Yeah.
Love it.
On the other hand, now he's going around mauling women as a demon instead, it seems.
It's
you're
just
like
really like
you didn't think that one through. Like
No.
you were not being a girl's girl in that moment.
not at all. I mean, I think Granny was just like,
She was angry.
Didn't even think about it. She goes, "You cursed."
Yes.
Didn't even let him explain nothing.
Nope.
Teenager, you're cursed for life.
You will never be able to have experienced sex in a positive way ever again.
Never.
You're going to turn into a demon. You're going to have these claws, these razor sharp teeth. Nobody's going to want to touch you.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about what he looks like as a demon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then also I'm like, what about your granddaughter though?
How traumatizing.
Like traumatizing, but also like, I mean, I guess you wouldn't curse your own granddaughter. I don't know. But
Who knows? Granny has her own agenda.
granddaughter is gonna get it from someone else though, just so you know.
Yeah,
like if it's not
yeah.
from him, it's from someone else.
No.
Let her live her life. But anyway.
Yeah. Continue.
So he keeps saying, and I don't really, I didn't get this reference, but he's like, I'm not possessed, I'm possessed. And they like emphasized it. Like they kept saying, I don't know if it had to do with like the grandmother's like ethnic background. They kept talking about how she's Romanian and things. So I don't know if it was like a different language thing. And they kept saying words that I don't understand. So I'm just not going to repeat them because I don't know where they were coming from. But they kept emphasizing not possessed, possessed.
Okay, so I'm wondering if like possessed, like possession would be if there was like something inside his body that wasn't him. So is he saying that when he turns into the demon, he's still himself?
I don't know.
Because that doesn't, I don't think that tracks. When I think of a demon, I think like, yeah, possession, like Exorcist or, you know, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe there's different lore, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but I'm curious.
If anyone knows,
please let us know. I'm very curious because I couldn't find anything about it.
The amount of digging I did to find information on this movie, it's so hard to find stuff. It really is.
Yeah, so we're just going off of what we could find and
what we liked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kaz finally transforms in front of Denny and he wants to prove why he can't bang her basically. Because she's like, come on. And he's like, no, you're going to, I'm going to hurt you. And she might think emotionally, but really he means, no, I'm going to turn into a demon. I'm going to maul you.
Like, so last thing on my mind, honestly.
Wow, that's not what I expected at all.
No.
I thought you meant you were just going to like break my heart or something.
Right, exactly.
So the first time he transforms, he doesn't fully transform. So I guess he's like half chub, basically.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
And the way he looks, in my opinion, is more terrifying than when he fully transforms.
Yeah.
Like it's like he almost looks like the Jester. I know we didn't talk about dolls yet, but the Jester doll in Dolls, where he is a bald cap. He has a big nose, a big chin.
Yeah, he's like hideous.
He looks like a giant like baby, like ugly baby.
I think that's why I appreciated this movie so much, because they didn't make him like a good-looking demon, or like, they didn't like make him like, I mean, not that demons are good-looking, but you know what I mean.
Well, compared to this, when he is a demon, he's way hotter for sure. But only because compared to this.
No, like he is disgusting as a demon.
Yeah.
Like at one point he gets like a huge like belly.
Yeah, he gets a huge belly. So the first thing that grows in the scene is his butt.
Like, and that's madness.
It's so funny. Like, he just all of a sudden gets like a badonkadonk, okay?
He does, yeah.
And then what I really liked about this scene was they show that, which I'm like, what? And then they show his spine like popping out, and it just goes like just up his spine.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a cool practical effect.
Very cool, yeah.
And then he like pops his head up, and he's bald, has a big nose, big chin, looks like a weird bald jester.
Yeah.
With no hair on his face or head.
What a horrible curse.
It's so weird, but then that isn't his final form. This is just where he's at right now.
Yeah.
And so she's just kind of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, how would you respond to that?
Well, I can tell you how Denny responds.
Yeah, okay, go on.
She's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then, so now I'm going to take you to dinner. We're going to introduce you to my friend, Sonia.
I mean, to be fair, they really did tell you exactly what kind of person Denny is.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the movie.
And so, she is scared.
She is. She's a little trepidatious, but not as much as she freaking should be.
Right.
Like, if I love my husband to death, if he just transformed himself into an ugly ass, bald, weird, strange looking demon.
Caked up demon.
I'm not sure how I would react to that. You know? It's like I love you, but what the
yeah.
You know?
At least the what the is deserved.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't be inviting him to dinner with my girlfriend.
Or I would at least have an entire list of questions.
Every question in the book. I probably end up calling a priest, even though I'm not religious.
Yeah, just cover all bases. Like every type of religion, come over, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Maybe start off with like, how did this happen?
100%.
How long has this been happening?
Not Denny, man. Not Denny. She goes, you know what? Let's just go for lunch. Let's go for a bite.
I'm ready to move to the next level. I want to introduce you to my friends. Okay. So
I would be like, can you eat?
Right.
Do you
eat normal food? Like, do you have to eat just like raw meat or something? That's what I would imagine.
Yeah.
So she takes him to this bar and introduces him to Sonia. And this part, I think, this is a scene that maybe made me the most, I don't know, well, maybe not the most mad, but like, I was like, what the, like, it really solidified to me that like Kaz is like, even though he's supposed to be a protagonist, He's such an asshole in the scene.
Yes, I know. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
So he blatantly checks out and hits on Sonia.
Okay, but it connects with the end of the movie.
It does.
In a huge way. Oh, no,
I have so much to say about it.
I have so many things to say about it. So many things. But yeah, he just blatantly checks her out. And that's why I keep going back to, is the demon, is that like possession that he has, or the, whatever he's calling it.
Possessed.
The possessed. Is it like almost making him even more like aroused all the time? So he like can't control it, so that he's all fucked up all the time?
I mean, they show that in the very opening scene. He's walking down the street. It's like, of course, all women on the street. Even the cop that chases him is a woman.
Yeah.
And he's just like losing his mind. Like, he's just like, oh my gosh, there's so many women around.
I feel like
that
there has to be like he's triggered or something. Or he's just a gross man. I mean, that also tracks.
It might have been a metaphor. I don't really know.
Could be.
But I definitely would say, sure, the demon is causing this. Sure.
Let's
sure,
go with it.
He wouldn't do that directly in front of Denny if he was a normal guy, right?
Never.
Right?
Never.
So Denny notices this and she's like pissed. So she's like, we're gotta be going or whatever, and they leave. But Sonia, the important part of the scene is that Sonia sees in his eyes that something is wrong.
Yeah, Sonia's perceptive.
She's very perceptive because she's the bad bitch. Okay?
She is, yeah.
And the person that got mauled when he jumped out the window to hide from Denny, the last time we saw someone get mauled, it was Sonia's little sister.
Right. Yes.
So she is on the lookout. And I don't really remember how, I don't recall, and I went back to look, but I don't think they really explained how she knew, but she kind of like...
She caught like a vibe from him.
No, she sees in his eyes that they're like red.
Oh, that's right.
But I'm thinking how she knew, she was like on the lookout for a demon. Like she kind of like felt like this was something, maybe just based on what her sister said.
Yeah,
like she just knew.
Yeah. I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah. Or she like saw the shadow or something.
There
where
was
it was like,
there was something that tipped her off, and I can't remember exactly where that is in the movie, but there is like it tips her off that she, right?
Yeah, that she needs to be like on the lookout for something like supernatural.
Yeah.
I don't know if she says demon, but she knows something's up. She is on the lookout now to avenge her sister, and she sees his eyes are red.
That's right. Yeah.
Just for a second, and then she's like, oh, so she knows something's up with this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Charles now, from the beginning of the movie, who has been trying to take her out, is now, they keep showing him at the payphone, and he's calling Denny, leaving her voicemails left and right.
What a creep.
Like, shoot your shot, sure, but like, accept
let
the
it
answer.
Go. Yeah.
Yes.
Just let it go. She ain't interested.
She's not interested. And granted, this was also 1987, so I understand like, oh, maybe they didn't get my first call, so let me leave another message.
Yeah,
you know, they don't have caller ID, so they don't know that I called all these times.
Don't leave voicemails. If someone doesn't respond to your voicemail, guys, like,
yeah,
she doesn't want to.
No.
If she wanted to, she would.
Exactly. So, but he is insistent. Okay, he is calling her saying, "I want to take you out to dinner. Hey, I want to take you to a movie. Hey, I want to do this. I want to do that." Every other scene, they're showing him. He keeps calling her. He has like flowers in his hand, ready for her. And he's
bombing.
saying,
Love bombing.
And he's saying like, "Meet me at this restaurant at 5. I'll wait for you until 5 or 6." Like he's just like hanging out waiting for her, and then the next day he's like, "Oh, maybe you didn't get my voicemail."
Oh, it's just so sad. Like that's so like just stop it.
So he has been trying to take her out insistently, and she's been ignoring him. Then he sees her on the street, and then we get a big twist here. So Charles chloroforms Denny.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And when he goes to do that, he has a demon hand.
Yes.
And we're like, oh, this motherfucker is the Mangler.
Absolutely, yes.
It wasn't Kaz this whole time.
No, it was him. And I do think they do a decent enough job of like really pushing the fact that this guy is creepy and just really wants to get to Denny in a way that's like obsessive.
Yes.
You know?
He's obsessive.
Yeah, and I think they do a pretty good job of painting that picture.
Yeah.
But I was still surprised when
Me too.
I was like, what the
I was surprised by that, and honestly, I really did think Kaz was the Mangler. And I thought it was...
you did?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was.
No?
The only
I'm
reason...
just dumb.
No. The only reason I didn't think he was is because I thought that would be too, like, obvious.
Okay.
You know? Like, I was like, I don't think he would do it.
I mean, when they showed him go out the window and then someone was mangled, I was like, okay. Like, I just didn't think, like, oh, that's not him. It's a swerve.
True.
You know? I was just like, okay, he's the Mangler. Like, he's doing this. But I'm thinking, like, oh, it's not his fault, quote unquote, the movie's probably going to make it seem like, oh, it was just the demon and that's not who he is,
No, I mean,
whatever.
I feel like that is actually like a good, I would see why you would think that, for sure.
And so now, if you did think that, like me, you can maybe go, oh, Kaz maybe isn't that bad of a guy, but then I'm still like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we're going to blame it all on the demon in the end. I don't really know.
Maybe. I don't know.
So now Charles takes her up to a castle
Okay.
for some reason.
Okay, we have to talk about this?
Yes.
First of all, I have to ask, where is this castle located? Because this is in New York City. They shot this in New York City.
Yes.
Is there a castle on Staten Island? Like, where is this castle?
I have no idea.
It made me think of, in Toronto, there's Castle Loma.
Okay.
And have you ever been to Castle Loma?
I don't know.
Oh my God, we have to go to Castle Loma. It's this gorgeous castle in the middle of the city. And it's like they've restored it.
Okay.
But it still looks like olden times.
Yeah.
And during Halloween, they do like a whole like haunted, like it's very cool. But that's what I was thinking during the scene. I was like, is there a castle that I've never heard of in New York City? Like,
very possibly. I mean, it isn't too far-fetched because I also think about Detroit. There are castles in Detroit. Like, there
Really?
are old homes. Yeah, I think a lot of people would be surprised by that. Like, beautiful architecture in Detroit, these old restored homes that look like castles.
would you live in one?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
There was
Me
one.
too.
This is just a side note, but like I remember a long time ago, one of my friends was like, "Let's move into this castle in Detroit." At the time, it was like $400,000, and it's like a 7-bedroom castle.
That's not bad that's not bad. I feel like
No, it's
I feel
not
like
bad
a
at
castle.
all.
I'm thinking it's like over $1 million.
Yeah. Well, also this was back in the day anyway, so prices were different. But still, Detroit overall like would be less than like Toronto or New York City. Anyway,
Sorry, we digress. But honestly, I would love to live in a castle.
That would be
Could
amazing.
could you imagine?
I can, and I'm happy thinking about it.
I know, right? Like
Let's just get a castle
spooky
together.
castle. We should.
Let's do it.
That's what we'll do the podcast in our castle.
Yes, I love it.
Okay.
So it's not too far-fetched, but it still seems like such a choice to not have explained at all in this movie. You're like, okay.
You're like, all right, I'm along for the ride.
All
Okay,
right,
let's
yeah.
go. Let's
You're
go
up
to
in a castle for some reason, and the police show up. Sonia shows up with the police because I don't know, maybe she like alerted him, like, hey, this guy's eyes are red. We got to go get him. Okay, and then this is the part you wanted to get to, right?
Yes.
So Kaz is now like fully transformed into the demon almost, but to fully transform and to be able to help Denny because the police cannot get up there, right? Charles is like, if you come any closer, I'm going to slash her throat, I think he says.
Yeah.
And
he's very aggressive.
Yes.
Super aggressive.
there is a scene shortly before this that kind of shows that Kaz might have wings at certain points, so they kind of tease that a little bit.
Yes.
So Kaz is like he can't turn into the demon fully because he's not aroused. Like, obviously this is not a sexy situation, right?
Right.
His girlfriend's kidnapped, there are police all around, like he's not turned on.
I'm like dying at this. I'm dying.
So her best friend is
What a sister, man.
she's like, I will do whatever it takes.
I'm gonna take one for the team.
Yes. And she is like, I am going to your boyfriend. So,
To save you.
just to save you. And I have so many questions about that.
So do I.
What a hypothetical. Imagine if you're like, would you be mad if I your boyfriend, but it was only so that I could fully transform him into a creature and save your life? Would you be mad?
I know. Like, honestly, like when that scene started unfolding, like my jaw hit the floor. I was like, wait a second.
Yes.
Is she gonna have sex? Like, I was.
Yes. Because he's like, oh, I can't transform to the demon. I'm not
Yeah.
aroused. And she's like, oh, you need to be aroused? Why didn't you say so?
She's like ready to rip. She's
And
like,
I'm like-
all right, let's do it.
I'm like, did she want to bang him or is this just to save her? I don't know. But I'm thinking she's going to just turn him on.
Yes, me too. No.
They literally.
They go to Pound Town.
They
I
are
know.
on the ground literally rolling into a field.
They are enjoying themselves. I think that's okay. Now, hypothetically speaking, if I was Denny and I'm up in this castle and I'm all like, whatever, kidnapped, and I found out that my boyfriend was had to have sex with my best friend, if I knew that they enjoyed it, I think that would piss me off more.
You're like, you can do it, but you can't enjoy
I
it.
don't like it.
Yeah.
Or at least kayfabe that. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least pretend you didn't enjoy it. Don't have a big old grin on your face.
Yeah, no, this was just clinical. This was just for science.
Yeah, we just had to do this. But don't be all excited about it because when he tells her that,
Yeah.
right? Like her cell is so like I don't know how I would
Sonia?
take that. Denny.
Oh, Denny. Well, Denny sees them out the window.
Yes, yes.
She like looks down and she's like, and she's supposed to be my best friend.
Because
What else would you think?
if I was kidnapped, I looked down and I saw Jesse doing that, I would be like, oh, okay. You know what?
You're like, I'm not even dead yet,
Let's
and you're
go
already
get him.
Yeah.
Listen here, demon friend. You know what? You and I, let's go get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're like, I'm not even dead yet, and already you're moving on. Like, what are you doing?
And why you got a big old grin on your face?
Why are you excited?
He enjoyed it.
But to be fair, he has to enjoy it in order to turn into the demon, right? He has to be aroused.
He does.
Or it's not going to work. But she didn't have to be excited.
I mean, she
was like,
thrilled.
"Let's
She was. I know that was also very disturbing. She was so ready to go. Like maybe there's a part of her that was like, "This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I am never gonna be able to f a demon ever again.
Right.
Like let's do it."
Like, do you not remember? Oh, I guess at this point she knows that he's not the one that mauled her sister.
She knows. Yeah. She
okay,
knows.
that's true.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, weren't you freaked out by him? And I'm like, oh wait.
No, she knows.
Okay.
I think there's like something else going on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
She was way too eager, and I felt like when she like when it happened. We're spending so much time on this one part, but honestly,
such a
guys,
good
if you
spot.
watch this scene, you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
And it's such a good part.
It is. Sonia just seemed a little too eager.
Yes.
She was a little too excited about it, and low key, I would, if I was Denny, like low key, I'd be like, "Oh, you've been eyeing my man for a while.
Yeah.
You've been eyeing my
Yeah. My demon.
my demon lover a little too much." Okay.
Yeah. So that happens, and now he has wings, which I also have questions about because like the point was to arouse him. But if you already had sex now, it's implied, right? It's heavily implied they were banging in that field.
Oh no, they were having sex in the field.
So
yeah.
like if that's true, unless they just stopped before there was, if they stopped before they finished, wouldn't he be not aroused anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
You would think that
Yeah.
he'd be like, okay, well now, like, okay, I came, now I'm not a demon anymore. I'm like going back to a regular person.
But hold on a second. I don't think he has had intercourse in a very, very, very long time. So the fact that
That's
he
true.
even knew that he would like grow wings and
yeah.
right? Like how did he even know that? Like has he been
I'm guessing he hasn't had sex since he was a teenager when he got cursed.
that was what I thought.
Right.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, but then I also can't remember how he got wings in that scene earlier. But he wasn't fully transformed. It was just like the wings came out by themselves, and it was like a glitch almost.
I think he just got a little bit excited.
Maybe that was like him like jizzing in his pants or something, and he was like wings. So
Yeah.
now he's like, oh, when I grow wings.
Now I know how to grow them. I don't know, but it's interesting to me that I guess you kind of see that he cares for Denny more than just being aroused by her.
Right.
Right? Like he actually has feelings for her, which
Right.
my God, the bar is set so low.
Legit.
Unreal.
And they also show, I feel like they kind of depict around this time, like him kind of battling with that demon. Like he's trying to be himself, but then the demon's coming through.
Yeah.
So he does, the real
Yes.
him, I think, does care about Denny. And
I think so too. I think it's more of the demon that is
Yeah.
like this gross sort of, I don't know.
Pervert?
Gigantic pervert.
I want to believe that was just the demon.
I hope so.
So he
For Denny's
defeats-
sake.
Yes. So now Charles transforms into a demon as well. He fully transforms into the demon. There was actually a moment where I was wondering if Charles was not really a demon, but he was pretending to be and just had like a Halloween costume to maul people.
Or
mangle.
It is so funny that you say that because there's a point. I think it's the scene where there's a scene
Because
where
of the hand.
It doesn't look real. It looks like a Halloween costume or
Yeah.
like something you get from like the dollar store.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it is a costume, but
Right.
it looks like it's not supposed to be like the practical effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which again, I think this movie is so charming because of like that. But exactly, I thought maybe he wasn't really a demon.
Yeah.
And he was like, dressing up as one. Who knows why? But yeah.
Or like, I was thinking that he was dressing up as one to...
like make people think that it was.
Yes.
But why would he know that?
I know, exactly.
Yeah, okay, anyway.
I was thinking the same thing where I'm like, is he trying to set up the demon? Or I was
Yeah.
thinking that he was just trying to disguise himself so he did something ridiculous.
100%. I thought something similar.
But either way, he is the
he's a demon.
Mangler.
Yeah, he's a Mangler.
He's a Mangler and he's a demon, but like he's a way different looking demon and he's really ugly.
Yeah.
Which like, so is Kaz.
Kaz is ugly, but he's uglier.
But this guy, Charles was made to look like hideous.
Yes.
Like weird.
yeah.
Not
he's,
just a demon.
Yeah.
But long story short, Kaz defeats him. So
Of
Charles
course.
is dead.
Charles is dead. See you later, Charles.
See ya. And the curse jumps from Kaz into someone close to him. So he was told, like, basically, if you do something noble,
Yes.
that you'll get rid of this curse. It'll jump from you to someone you're close to, which also, why would you want
That's
that?
horrible.
You're gonna let someone that you're close to get the curse? How? That's also, I'm like, you are a shitty person.
No, he's terrible. He
Like-
is terrible.
So that's just wild to me. You're doing something noble, but also ironically, it's not noble to let your loved one get this fucking curse.
I think my guess is that like it's a lose-lose situation. Like no matter what he does,
Yeah.
like it's a curse. It's called a curse for a reason, right? Like
Yeah.
like doesn't matter what he does, like he's gonna hurt someone or himself.
Yeah. And there's a part of me that wonders then, did he not care about Denny? Did he just want to get rid of the curse to do something noble?
I honestly wondered the same thing.
Or maybe he just wasn't thinking about passing it on because he cared so much about Denny. So he's like, oh, I forgot. I am going to pass it on. But I was really just trying to save her. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
hard to say, honestly. It doesn't seem like Kaz has evolved very much since high school, truly.
No. And I mean, to be fair, he did get cursed. So maybe that stunted his growth a little bit.
Kind
and
of
his
like
brain.
Edward from Twilight.
Yeah. So you kind of think that it's going to jump to Denny, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, now she's going to have the curse.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It jumps to Fixer, which is his
Yes.
friend that told him about the curse in the first place.
Which God, like I feel bad for him.
He's so sweet.
He is. I mean, listen, he's swindling people for money, but you
Yes.
got to do what you got to do.
He's a hustler,
He's a
and I
hustler.
respect it.
I do. I do respect
And
the hustle.
I also wonder if it meant if it was going to jump to someone physically close to him at the time, or if it meant someone close to him emotionally.
I wondered the same thing.
Because Fixer could be either. He was there at the scene.
Yes, and
And-
he's also like his friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but then he starts chasing the female cop. He's horny now. Okay, whatever. And then, as with any good horror movie, it ends with them finally getting to.
I know. It's their happily ever after.
They get to bang. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my demon lover.
Did you honestly loved it?
Honestly, I did. I just have. I have a soft spot for 80s movies.
I do too.
B horror in general, practical effects,
Oh,
ridiculous stories.
We have to talk about the scene where Kaz turns into the demon, and it reminded me so much of The Thing. Like all those like things were coming out of
Oh,
him,
yeah.
and like it was disgusting.
Yeah.
I feel like they used most of the budget on the practical effects, and specifically that scene.
Yeah.
Dude, that won me over immediately. I went,
Yeah.
oh my God. Because like you, like I really like practical effects. Like special effects, you know, like
Sure.
CG, it's like, it you know, you can use it where you need it.
Yeah.
But I think movies that rely more heavily on actual practical effects, makeup, stop motion, things
Yeah.
like that, it's above, I think it's the best.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I'm so glad you liked it.
Highly recommended.
Please go see it.
Like with all these movies, I understand why it might not be someone's cup of tea.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
But I hope that we're able to uncover some hidden gems for people.
Yeah.
Especially if you like B horror or you have
Yeah.
a tolerance for such
or if,
things.
if you're looking for like different movies that aren't super mainstream. And I mean, yeah, when My Demon Lover came out, it was supposed to be like a big box office movie. It was, but it obviously wasn't, and has now become a cult classic that like people might not have seen, right? Like same
Yeah.
with Blood Diner. Like these are movies that I think are great. They don't take themselves too seriously. They know what they are.
Yeah.
You know, like it's, and I think like people sometimes don't give that a chance.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're in the video store, you see My Demon Lover. You might not jump for it.
Yeah.
I guess it's streaming services now, but I still like to think that we're living in an age where we can go to
Right.
the video store. You know, like deep down.
I feel like there is one by my house somewhere. Maybe not too close, but somewhere in the area. Not a Blockbuster, but like some type of video
Even better.
store. Yeah.
We should go.
I'm gonna try to find it.
100%.
I hope it didn't close during the pandemic, but I'm gonna look it up.
There's a Blockbuster like in Portland or
Oh
something.
yeah, the last Blockbuster.
I would love to go there.
We should go.
That would be I would be the happiest person ever. There's
I'm
there,
so
like there's
down.
a smell in Blockbuster.
Yes.
Right?
I wonder if that one has the smell though. I feel like it has to.
I feel like it would.
I feel like it's all the plastic or something.
Yeah, there's something about it. And then oh god, I miss the video stores. I miss them so much. And the cover of My Demon Lover is pretty funny.
I didn't even see the cover.
Oh no?
No.
Okay, well we'll put it up on Instagram or something so you guys can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a great movie. I thought it was a blast. I'm so glad you liked it.
I'm so glad too. So the next episode, Laura's going to be covering a movie that I recommended, which we will wait to announce.
Yeah, we're gonna wait. It's a surprise, but we'll put like teasers or whatever out. Yeah. You guys are the best. Okay, bye.